Hello everyone, welcome back to Copenhagen Dreaming. By now I've pretty much given up on the blurbs at the beginning of the episodes, so pardon me if you're going to miss those, but they're probably going to be a thing of the past by now. But that doesn't mean that we don't need a recap. So Chris, could you do the honors?
I believe I can, if I remember. It's been a while. Well, it's been a week. So last time on Copenhagen Dreaming, we were still in Ireland, and we spoke with the High King of all the Fae in all the world, the RE, in Ireland, Rory O'Leary, which is an epic name, whether you say it or spell it, depending on the circumstances. And we basically discussed with him what we intended to for the most part, and he told us basically there were certain things he couldn't do even as king without, having, in regards to Duke Hardenberg, without Duke Hardenberg actually being there at court or someone more official than us being there. But what he did do was he gave us a missive passed on to, of all people, Elizabeth Hardenberg, which was all well and good. We decided to spend the rest of the time we were in Ireland exploring various things, listening into various conversations, doing homework essentially, and just learning a bit more about the city. And eventually, we made our way back home and decided it would be a good idea to. I think we were going to split up into two different groups.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I need to get the notes open.
We went to Elizabeth together.
That's right. We went to Elizabeth together to deliver the news. She was a bit disturbed by our insisting to see it alone, and she was very shocked when she discovered what the contents of this decree by the RE were, which was basically that she be named officially Queen of Denmark. So her authority essentially superseded that of both Duke Hardenberg and Duchess Rosenspar, and she would have the authority to try her own father for ostensibly war crime, well, not the war crimes, but also the crime of not having turned power over to the Winter Court in the timely manner that is expected, despite the fact that this is something that happens quite a lot across the world. It's still not exactly legal or acceptable. So there was that, and let me see. Yes. Oh yes, there was one other thing I remember about the about Ireland, going back to that briefly a bit disjointedly, is that we kind of proved ourselves to our loyalty to their court by when Agnes, being the kleptomaniac that she is, somehow wound up with this evil looking poison dagger from somewhere in the court, and we decided the best thing to do would be to return it and explain the situation, and we returned it to the RE's sister, whose name escapes me.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But basically, yes, the dagger was hers, and she used it in defense of Rory, but she was pleased by our upfrontness and our dedication to return it. So she actually let Agnes keep the thing in the end, which is nice of her. It could be useful. Oh yes, and we learned a bit about Charlie's determined pacifism.
Yes.
And as an in reference to our previous campaign, we very briefly met Fina. Was it Fina Roche? Taran's wife. Taran being one of the characters from the Song of Tara. Anyway, back to Denmark. Sorry. Basically, then it was decided that we would split up so that some of us would stay to look after Elizabeth and to make sure that she had time to gather all the various people she wanted to speak to in one place, and also that her father would not have access to her until she deemed it right. To do this, she knighted Jonas in a very medieval fashion by basically striking him and saying that would be the last time he would receive a blow that he would not be able to answer to, essentially. And the rest of us decided to head to the Winter Court to explain the situation to Duchess Rosenspar, which we did, and she found the whole thing interesting and decided that it would be best for her to go and see Elizabeth in person as well, to pay fealty, I suppose. We also decided, we also went out to go and grab certain people on Elizabeth's behalf, namely we went to go and get Thomas from his apartment and cause yet more marital problems for him, because that seems to be his lot in life. And the last we left off, Jonas was basically barring Duke Hardenberg entry to his own study by order of Her Royal Majesty, the Queen of Denmark, and explaining to him that, yes, this isn't just her going mad with power, this is an official decree from the highest authority.
Yes. And I think that, as you said, is pretty much where we ended, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
With the whole court, the whole court looking at Jonas like he'd grown a second head.
Yes, he might as well for what he just did.
Yeah, it was a bit rude.
The court is still shocked and stunned a whole week later when we rejoin you. Of course, it's only been a few moments in character. But I mean, obviously, the Duke himself, he's he looks like he is one step away from, from striking you down. He is utterly, horrendously furious, and the only reason why you're not, shocked and stunned into awe by this is because you're she yourself. Anybody here who isn't, you, whether you like it or not, can feel your knees shake, because an angry she is a horrid, it's a terrifying thing. It's just part of the whole makeup of she-dom.
I don't know, I'd rather face an angry she than an angry dragon, I gotta say.
Perhaps, but it is a part of the supernatural thing about them that an angry...
Oh, I know. But he's by law not allowed to kill us. The dragon isn't.
Yep. So...
Well, she might be, but she doesn't really care.
Well, Jonas says, again, I apologize, Your Grace, but I have my orders.
You can take your orders, and he's about to say something more when the door behind you opens, and you can hear Elizabeth calmly saying, Jonas is telling you the truth, Father. These are no longer your rooms. Go home. I will send message. And the look on the man's face is one of complete stunned shock. He did not see this coming. And as she turns back around to leave, and then she turns her head and looks at her father, and there's a very different look on her face than what any of you have seen before, and she says, "Oh, and Father, leave your weapons here." And then she closes the door again. His mouth opens and closes. He's just been shamed in front of the entire court by his own daughter.
This is probably a good time to not react in any way whatsoever.
Oh, you think so, do you?
Yes.
You're not feeling particularly lucky, are you?
Yeah.
You are a knight of the court, Jonas. Please find your testicles again.
I think he dropped them. We shot back up.
I may be a knight, but he's a battle-hardened duke. I'll just be completely within stoic etiquette.
Yes.
There are several people in the room apart from yourselves and him. Most of them look like they can't believe what they've just seen. A couple of them are... I won't say they're advancing towards where you are, but they are, you know, kind of approaching as if they don't really know what to do. And then Duke Hardenberg reaches to his belt, undoes it, and drops his sword, which he is wearing on his belt. He drops his sword belt on the floor. And he looks directly at all of those of you who are present. I can't remember who, apart from
Only those who stayed to keep the Duke out. Everyone else was out.
Everyone else is out, but who did?
There were a couple who went to.
I think it was August and Jasmine and Agnes. So
who went to the Winter Court?
So it would be Sunny and.
No, Sunny went to get Thomas. So
that's right.
Thomas and the fiance.
Yes.
And obviously Charlie is kind of absent, so it's literally just Jonas.
Well, he was fictionally there with Jonas.
Yeah, he was. Well, that means that Jonas is currently... You might as well be the deer caught in the headlights of a 16-ton truck laden with melons right now. You're everybody is looking directly at you. And then, you know, a few people kind of this thing where they look between the sword on the floor, and then to you, and then to the Duke, and then back to the sword on the floor, and then to you. As in, what's gonna happen now? And the Duke doesn't say a word. He looks at you. There is a sense of absolute betrayal on his face when he looks at you. And then he walks out.
I think Jonas remembers to breathe when the Duke is out of sight.
And at that point, people do start to approach because they want to know what the hell is happening.
Should I pick up the sword? Would that be...
Yes.
At that case, Jonas does so. Yeah.
Technically speaking, I don't think you're supposed to say anything until she can make a public thing.
Yeah, exactly.
She hasn't, strictly speaking, told you not to tell anyone, but she hasn't told you that you're allowed to, so, you know, good luck with that.
It's more a matter of, I'm not at liberty to say, I'm not at liberty to say, I'm not at liberty to say!
Go away!
I think Jonas holds up a hand.
Yes.
To, get attention.
Yes.
Which I assume he has.
Oh, absolutely. Unquestioningly, in fact.
He says, Her Majesty will address this later.
Her Majesty?
Please stay put.
What? Her Majesty? What? But... Okay. And everybody just, they stand there, most of them looking like they're not quite sure what they've just heard. Some of them do kind of take the hint that they're not getting any more answers and they go back to sit down, but nobody is leaving.
That's good. Well then, I resume my standing watch at the door, looking really sheepish because that was awkward and frightening.
Yes, probably. And while you stand there looking very big and strong and guarding and stuff, let's go over to... I think, Sunny, you actually did get in touch with both the people you needed to get in touch with, so... Yeah, you're, on your way back or something?
Yeah, doesn't know how long Thomas needs to speak with his wife before he's murdered or either runs away.
It doesn't take that long, but when he comes out, he looks thin-lipped, let's put it that way. And basically,
I'm so sorry.
He just looks at you and says, "It's not your fault, but this had better be the best of reasons ever."
Oh, of course, Elizabeth is queen. So it's a very good reason.
Yeah. He just looks at you. And then
I couldn't tell her fiancé. I figured she should tell him. It would feel weird coming from me.
She's what?
Danish.
Relationships are hard, aren't they? Let's go.
You're not making this any easier.
I know. I'm confused too. I didn't even know she was gonna be named Queen.
Queen. Okay, we're going.
I feel really bad for Jonas. He has to keep the Duke out of his offices.
We're going. As in, we're there 5 minutes ago, Thomas says, and suddenly looks very much like he's in a hurry.
It's
I hope Jonas is still alive.
So do I.
She kind of slapped him. I think that was significant. Something about that was the last thing he was ever gonna take.
Oh, wow. She knighted him.
Something about that was the only one who could keep the Duke out.
Yes,
reasonably.
a squire giving the Duke that kind of order would just be cut down. A knight actually has some authority. Okay.
That's good. And there's a chance he's still alive when we get back.
Yeah, definitely. Let's... Oh, good grief. Let's,
Be on his way too.
Yeah. Okay. We're going. We're going, he says. And he is moving as quickly as you know, as... Basically, he is doing that run where he's not quite running.
He's power walking.
He is definitely power walking, which, considering the size of the man and the length of his legs, is a good solid jog for most others.
Well, that's kind of nice, because Sonny is rather tall. He always had to wait for the other.
Not necessary here. You guys keep pace rather nicely.
Oh, you can walk fast. Yay!
Well, he goes to the nearest place where he can catch a taxi, and he gets in. Beckons for you to come along.
I'll fly. That's faster.
All right.
See you there.
See you there. And then over to the Winter Court.
Yeah.
Where you have been talking to... You have been talking to the Duchess. What are you going to do now?
I think last time we were just on our way to head out there.
Yes, that's true. Basically,
It was a matter of, we just got off.
Yes, and she was going to come along as well.
Yeah.
Yes. I think she'll... Will she want to bring... Will she want to bring her retainers with her? This is quite a serious official event if she's going to pay homage to a new queen.
She doesn't. At least not, you know, the whole court isn't told to come along. She does see two other she in the room outside. One is the Lady Marianne, and the other is Therese, who's sitting around looking like she's kind of getting, you know, into conversation with some of the locals and getting to know them and stuff like that. And seeing as she does have a title, and seeing as the Lady Marianne has a title, basically she gets the Duchess walks over to each of them and says, "You're coming with me right now. This is important."
Hey, let's put it this way. Therese didn't choose a boring time to go to Denmark to find her family roots.
That's definitely true.
You wanted adventure, she's getting it.
Yeah. Loads of adventure.
Should I add a sir to Jonah's name?
If you wish.
I'll just add a comma, knight of something.
Yeah, knight of, and you haven't been told what you are knight of just yet.
I'll write
Knight of the
something.
door. Your door knight.
He is knight of the. He is knight of the most excellent fastened portal.
Unhinges.
He might be unhinged, but you never know.
No, the portal is.
So I take it they leave for the summer court.
Yes. And that means that all of you, not necessarily at exactly the same time, but all of you actually, you get there. That's the point. You reach the summer court.
Thanks.
Sonny hugs Joan. I'm so happy you're still alive.
Yeah, me too. For a moment there, it didn't look like he would control his temper.
Ugh.
Understandable. That's right. Jasmine notices that he seems to have another sword in his hand. Would she recognize that as Duke Hardenberg?
Yes.
And I suspect with my etiquette thing, my Grammaire thing, I might know what that means. But it's like,
Not really, no.
Oh.
That is probably stretching what you can deduce from simply seeing the sword.
Fair enough. Oh, fair enough. So it's like, that's the Duke's sword.
Yeah, Her Majesty told him to leave it.
See. Okay. I'm sure there's some significance to that, but figure that out later.
Mm.
Or maybe just precaution.
What?
That was almost inaudible.
Or maybe just a precaution. I mean,
Maybe.
his temper taken into account in the circumstances.
Yeah, that could be. So I take it if they're here, the Duchess is too.
Oh, yes.
Did she walk in?
No, she's standing there, kind of looking expectant, as if, the whole, yes, I need to get in there sort of thing.
Basically, what you should do is basically open the door and say to the Queen, "You have a visitor, Majesty."
Please not in that tone, though.
No, obviously not, but that's just me taking the piss.
Jonas does a small bow towards her and says, "Your Grace, I'll inform her you're here."
Thank you.
And then he knocks on the door.
And while you do that, you have a couple of, again, people are starting to gather around to see what the hell is going on. You have what's his face, the Puka Dogbert is there.
Ooh.
You have the American Selkie Randall is there. Maya is there, looking completely confused. Uncle Stefan is there. Let me see who else.
Sonny realizes how much attention they get, so he smiles and waves.
Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
Exactly.
You have one of the knockers, Hans Dreyer, is there. You got both the Boggins, Vigo and Pia are there. And that's it right now. Those are the people who are in the room. And they are all sitting on, pins and needles. And as you are about to turn around and open the door, Baroness Silvergrain and Felicia arrive pretty much almost at the same time. They're very close to actually falling over each other as they arrive.
Someone told them something is going on.
Yeah.
Have I arrived yet?
He arrives, almost on the heels of those two, but not until Jonas has actually opened the door.
Oh, I actually just
Oh, you
knocked.
knocked the door.
I,
Yeah. Well,
I would wait
there is a
for-
response from within to, you know, yes.
Then he opens the
Yeah.
door.
Oh,
And
Arnd is here too.
Oh, and enters. What about Thomas?
Thomas doesn't know that he's supposed to enter yet, so he's there with I thought I said that
Sunny did say that she wanted to talk to him.
Oh right, but he has arrived basically. I'm sorry if I didn't make that completely
Oh,
clear.
sure.
He's there.
Oh, Sunny waves him over.
Jonas closes the door behind him just because that seems appropriate, and then he bows and says, "The people you requested are here, Your Majesty."
Right. I suppose now is as good a time as any. Should I do this in here or out there? No, I think, she says and looks at you, that there's been enough closed doors in this court. I think we shall go out there, all of us, don't you agree?
I think that would be much appreciated.
Good, then that is what I shall do. She straightens her back and sets her jaw, and she looks quite regal when she puts her mind to it. And then she just nods towards the door, sort of for, you know, you to open the door so she can leave, because of course the Queen does not open the door herself.
Of course. And Jonas does the whole backing away because, yes, I remember you're not supposed to turn your back on the Queen.
Yes.
And opens the door for her.
Fantastic. Well, she strides out. The moment she does so, the Duchess kneels. And when she kneels, it takes maybe a breath for everyone else to realize what the hell is going on, and then everybody kneels.
Jonas does too.
And the Duchess, being the highest ranking person here, apart from the Queen herself, is the first to speak, and she says, "I came as soon as I was told, Your Majesty. I am surprised, but very pleasantly so, to learn of this turn of events. I did not foresee this." And the Queen stands there for a moment before she answers, and again she kind of, you know, straightens up her back a little bit, as if to make sure that she's got the proper posture. This is all new to her, obviously. and she goes, "I think this came as a great surprise to everyone. That is to say, it has in fact happened. I have disarmed my father by decree and sent him to our private home. He shall stay there until this whole affair has been dealt with. And it will be dealt with fairly and justly. I will not have it said," she says, and relaxes a little bit. "I will not have it said of me that I am protecting a man because of family relations as the very first act of my rule. You, Valentina, you are to act as the prosecutor in the case against my father. I assume that you will want time to prepare. I do tell you to make it quick, however. question is how long we have before our enemies decide to take action against not just me, but all of us, while this is new and still something everyone is getting used to.
Oh yeah, someone needs to tell her about the fucking war coming with the Swedes.
Didn't we?
No, we didn't!
Not yet.
Ooh.
And the Duchess does look a little surprised at this, and she says, "Your Majesty, has nobody told you yet?" And she goes,
Oh dear.
Told me what exactly? And Valentina does look uncomfortable at that, and she says, "Your Majesty, there is a war brewing with the court in Stockholm. The Baron is supported by the Swedish court. The only thing at the moment keeping him from launching an attack as it is that the lady has decreed that she wants a year before she faces your father in single combat. At most, she would like to face him tomorrow if she could, but if she doesn't see him on the field of battle alone within the year, she will start killing. And that is the reason why the Shadow Court, that's the reason why the Shadow Court isn't moving. Because right now, bizarre as it may seem, the lady is what is keeping the peace. And you can tell that she blanches noticeably, Elizabeth does, when she hears this. And she looks to all of you and says, "And this is true, I take it?"
Yes, Your Majesty.
We heard information we learned from the lady herself when she'd wished to convey it to us.
So you have spoken to the lady in person. How much do I not know? How much has been kept from me? And that silence is pretty indicative of what is going on in the room right now. Nobody is saying a thing.
Sonny looks thoughtful, because he doesn't actually remember if there's more they haven't told her.
I mean, Elizabeth doesn't know about oh goodness me, what was her name? Teresa.
No, that's true.
Oh, that's
And I don't think she knows about Jonas, strictly speaking, either.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
I think Jonas swallows hard and says, nothing has been kept from you, Majesty. We were simply overwhelmed. We shall be happy to inform you of anything else we might know, as soon as it's convenient.
It is convenient now. If we have a war on our hands, or a war coming, and the only thing keeping the peace is a dragon the size of an airplane, I think it behooves me to know what is going on.
Well, it might behoove you better in private chambers.
She looks at the people in the room and she says, "Loath as I am to agree with more secrecy, I suppose it is for everyone's protection that not, in fact, everyone knows everything. Come with me." And she brings you specifically, and and she brings Thomas and the Count, who has just arrived moments earlier, and the Duchess, and nobody else. Everybody else is basically, you know, instructed to stay outside and wait. But you guys and the ones mentioned, she brings into her private quarters again.
I know Aunt is she, and he's very well poised and shit like that, but I kind of imagine him with the, oh fuck, I'm gonna be the new Henrik, aren't I?
That's just sad.
It is. At least he's not as begrudging as he is.
Yeah, true.
He also looks way better.
Yeah. So...
Was it Jonas and the others, or the entire motley and the others?
It's the entire motley, Thomas, the Duchess, and the Count.
County boy.
Yes.
Alright.
But does that... I assume that means that Therese is still outside
Yes,
as well,
Therese
then?
is still outside.
Okay, fair enough. Right, I'm sure of that.
At least she gets a lot to tell the people when she gets back home.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, if she gets back home.
If she wants to go back.
Shh. We have to be positive, I think.
So basically, I'm going by the etiquette of waiting until I'm spoken to.
Yes.
Who's chopping vegetables in the background?
That's Astrid.
Oh! Was I right? Is she chopping vegetables?
Yes.
Cool!
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Nice. Okay, so...
Landskabsbakken i baggrunden. Yay!
So yeah.
Only by the word of the Queen will we...
Yeah.
Well, Tony follows in and waits.
Well, she gets informed, and probably, or at least she wants to be informed. That's the thing. So when she gets inside her own quarters, and the rooms, the doors are closed again, she turns around and looks expectantly at people, and there's this very clear look on her face of, all right, everybody start talking in an orderly fashion right now.
And we should probably bring her up to speed, but there's a lot to say.
Yes.
So...
Yeah.
So can we say we bring her up to speed?
Absolutely.
Or...
Majesty, brace yourself, and the Duke needs to keep his mouth shut because he does not want us to tell you this. Sorry, your Duke might do whatever.
The Duke
isn't here.
Duke is, as I think her father has been sent away.
I thought it was it's the
Count, her fiance.
Yes.
Yeah, I mixed those two up.
But yeah,
And
we
then
bring
just-
her up to speed.
Let's start from the beginning. It's a long tale, and then just give her
Yeah.
the entirety.
Yes.
And she listens, and it takes a good long time to explain all of it. She's got plenty of
Yeah,
questions.
because it did kind of start with all the thing that happened to Thomas.
And
But at least I'll be happy to know that it wasn't the dragon who killed anyone.
Yeah.
It was actually just Steel.
Yeah. And again, she listens. She asks a lot of questions, intelligent ones, at least for the most part. She's attentive. She's also very angry. Not at you guys as such, but she seems increasingly angry at her father.
I kind of understand why.
Because and she does, when you're all done, she does hint, or not even hint, she says, I cannot help but wonder when my father would have felt that it was appropriate to let me know of all this.
He did mention that it was about time, but that's not that long ago. And the fact that he hasn't said anything yet, kinda...
Well, your father's action actually made it very easy for me to swear loyalty to Wintercourt.
I don't hold that against you. Because, quite frankly, if that had been me, I think I would have done the same thing. I only have your sides of the story. I cannot judge him without there having actually been a trial.
Well, the proof is still in the dreaming.
Indeed.
And we can actually show you where we found this proof.
I think I should like to see that once the evidence has been further gathered and I've had times to talk about this with the Duchess. But what I should really like, is for all of you to hop on the first train tomorrow to Jutland, find the lady's caves or roost or wherever she came from, and confirm who destroyed her eggs.
Oh, she gave us the address herself when we asked.
Good.
I even have the entire conversation on tape.
Great. That is very important. But I should like for you to go there because you clearly know a thing or two about Kronos. So by all means, go and confirm who destroyed her eggs. Because if that is if what happened in that place is what I think happened, she has every right to be as angry as she has shown herself to be. And I have an even bigger problem on my hand because there is no way I can hand over all of Jutland.
Well, she was no longer interested in Jutland. She, well, just wanted to face your father in single battle. He could be as armed and unarmored as he wanted. But that was the only thing she wanted. Then she'd leave, and when she left, that would kind of make the whole thing start.
I see. Yes.
He hands over the extra phone thingy he recorded it on. You can hear her tale right here.
And I will as soon as we're done here. But still, that would be your task now. Go and investigate this. And bring me proof.
Yes, Your Majesty.
You need an area of responsibility now, Jonas.
He blinks. He had forgotten about that.
Yes. I believe that I shall have something ready for you in that regard when you return.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
You're welcome. And she suddenly looks extremely tired. As in, you know, completely exhausted from everything that's just happened.
I don't blame her.
No. May I make a suggestion, Your Majesty?
I will gladly listen.
I would suggest making it a personal priority, or making it a priority to get a personal guard.
Yes. That is actually my... Very well. Jonas, henceforth you shall be the Knight of the North Gate. Felicia will be my guard.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Sonny looks happy it isn't him.
Keep it safe.
He gives her a glance. Oh my fucking god, I'm so sorry. What does Jonas?
Keep it safe.
The doesn't say anything, but there's sympathy on his face.
And learn how to fight if you don't already. You will need it. The same goes for you, August, she says and looks at him. I don't think there can be any doubt that you will need all the warriors you can get in the times to come.
Well, we need to get Jonas himself into some kind of protection, some kind of armor, and get ourselves some proper weapons.
Yes.
And then...
Well, you have a sword.
I know how to fight.
So, proper weapon you already have. But...
Nah, this is just a mundane sword.
But, sorry, out of character. It was, that was actually meant to be chimerical, the one that the Duke gave you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My bad. I just realized that I clearly did not make that clear enough. But yes, it's absolutely a chimerical weapon.
Well, that's nice. And I've also ordered one with the knocker. So, but we can use that for another one in our battle.
Yes. We will need armor for you, as you mentioned. That, at least, is less of a problem. Who here requires armor? All of you?
Would probably be a good idea to have, yeah.
Yes, I am most skilled at the moment with the sword. Need something to protect myself.
I have this, Jonas says, and tugs at the vest Charlie made for him.
There's a good start, but I think you shall need something a little more substantial.
He nods.
I will, she says, and sighs deeply. I will give all of you protection. You will need it. And she looks at Valentina and says, if war is on the doorstep, we need to open the magazine. There's no alternative but to arm those who are capable of fighting, but we can't do it all at once, or our enemies will know that something is up. And she looks at Thomas and says, you, Thomas, have the ear of all the commoners of Copenhagen more than any man I know. I realize that you do not want a knighthood, and he squirms. And she says, so I will respect the fact that you do not want the knighthood, but I will give you responsibility regardless. Whether you will then later realize that having a title to back it up makes it easier is up to you, and then you can come and talk to me about it. But until then, I will put you in charge of setting up defensible positions throughout the city. We need to be able to protect Copenhagen if war comes. That is your task. And she looks to the count, and she says, "We have very few men or women in Copenhagen as skilled in single combat as you, or as good tactically as you, and certainly no one who, when you combine the two, are as skilled as you are, my dear. I want you to train the people we have. Make it as subtle as you can. I know that's a tall order, but try to teach everyone at least how to hold on to the right end of a weapon. A spear, a sword, I don't care if it's a club. I don't honestly care what weapon it is. I don't want anyone unarmed if and when the Swedish army comes stomping through the streets of Copenhagen armed to the teeth. I want everyone to at least be able to defend themselves. And
well, Your Majesty,
yes,
I gave the Duchess a sort of a plan to make things better for us.
please do tell me as well.
Old-fashioned guerrilla war style. We strike first, we strike hard, and we kill chimerically. We will remove as many as possible, because the more we remove of their ranks, the less likely they are to actually attack us. If there's enough of them that has gone away, Sweden will no longer have any reason to join up, because then it will be a fair fight, and they do not want that.
I agree, she says. I absolutely agree. All the more reason why you need weapons and equipment. So she walks over to one of the bookcases, and she puts her... It's a very ornamental bookcase, and she sticks her finger into an ornamented skull into one of the eye sockets on one of the bookcases. It's quite a gaudy thing, really. And there's a click, and the desk behind which she would normally be sitting slides aside and reveals a staircase leading downstairs. Says, I think it is time you come with me.
I'm no longer shocked what to find in these places, he says, and follows.
Jonas follows as well.
She takes you down into the bowels of and it really is into the bowels of the city. You can't be sure because you kind of lose track of distance pretty quickly. It's a circular staircase going down. It's wide and it's reasonably well lit, but it's also very repetitive, and you keep walking for a while. It's probably going to make your legs kind of tired to walk back up, because walking downstairs isn't as bad as walking up them later on.
Is happy I'm tireless.
Yes.
Will this be a bad time to start singing "You Spin My Head Round"?
She does give a slight chuckle at that and says, I think irreverence right now might not be the best of times for it, she says. But as jokes went, that one is pretty good. She takes you all into the deep down, and you it opens up into a room in which you can see weapons and armor. Specifically, you see quite a lot of what is it called? There are racks for armor, on which armor is hanging, but there are also shelves where armor is neatly folded up and placed, and there's both leather and chain and so on. And she says, "There's no plate, at least not here." But she looks around at all of you and says, pick what you need.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I'll start looking around for best throwing weapons nearby.
You find some very...
Because I know, the little lunatic who steals everything needs something proper.
Yes. Well, the little lunatic who steals everything and who can learn to throw stuff is going to end up with some really well-crafted and fantastically balanced throwing axes.
Great.
Nice. And you can even get them back without going to collect.
Yay!
Yep. Okay. What to get for myself? trying to think what would be best to have for armor for when leather.
Yeah, but what is good armor? Because I have no clue.
Leather armor gives you a bit of protection without actually upping your difficulty on dex checks. As soon as you get into chain or plate armor, your difficulties on dexterity checks will go up because it's heavier and it's ungainly and so on and so forth. And then of course there's she plate, which is in a league entirely of its own, which doesn't give you any what's it called, any penalties, and gives you a 7 bloody dice with which to soak additionally.
Yeah, but there were no plate down here.
No plate, so yeah.
So as an archer, leather might be the best.
Leather might be a good choice for you indeed. And there is leather armor here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And for Sunny, who's also a dexterous fighter, it would probably also be a good idea.
So I'm thinking leather armor and then whatever the best blade I can find down there.
The best blade you can find down here is there are no blades in this place that are better than what you already got. The sword that the Duke let you have is an excellent weapon. There are no ensorcelled weapons down here. It's a storage area for conventional weapons and armor, so to say.
Yeah. I assume the same goes for any other place, because again, the Shasmans was found in the Dreaming somewhere. Okay. Is there like a short bow or something down here?
Yeah, you can definitely find a short bow down here.
Because if Jonas is going to focus on being the archer with a long bow, and I've got some skill in archery, so it makes sense to have some options.
Of course.
Okay, so I shall take some.
That's a good point. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I'll take a short bow and some chainmail armor, because if I'm going to be focusing on melee, then it makes sense to go, even if I take a dex penalty for it. Okay. Yep, so you were saying?
I was saying that it's probably a good idea if I get a melee weapon as well. I can't necessarily stay at range at all. So I assume that's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
I have ordered a sword made chimerical at the American Knucker.
Yes.
And he's probably already done with it. So we can actually just pick it up. I need to get some money and then pay for it, of course, but that's about it.
Yes.
Are there any fist weapons down here?
Oh yeah. Punch blades.
Cynic goes around looking at those. He doesn't know how to use a sword without poking his own eye out, but he does know how to punch someone in the face.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just as long as he doesn't try using it to pick his nose, he'll be fine.
He's very average intelligence. I don't think he's that dumb.
You even find you could get shoes.
Oh.
Shoes?
Sharpened shoes. For what are they called? For satyrs. They have them.
So kind of like horseshoes.
Yeah, except of course the satyr has cloven hooves, but they've still managed to make several different sizes that are available here. So if you should want, you could probably get someone to put those on you.
He asks. He's never seen those before.
And,
like, what is this? Stares at one.
Well, if you get those things attached to your hooves and you kick someone with them, it's gonna hurt quite a lot.
I wonder where those spiked horseshoes came from.
Is that possible to have done?
Well, I'm pretty sure Charlie can figure it out.
Yeah. Sure then.
Otherwise, if we go into the head knocker, he might actually just have exactly what you need to do that.
I think think the thing that Sonny thinks about the most now is not how many he can kill with it, it's that he's gonna end up leaving hoof prints everywhere because it's kind of that shape.
Yep. Joan.
Yes.
What is the soak value or whatever it is for leather?
We can find out.
Sure, I can help you look.
If you have the book somewhere.
Yeah, we could go on a break and find that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. Let's take a break here, and we will find that while we're gone, and then we'll be back with more Copenhagen Dreaming. So please don't go anywhere.